Hurry, you don't want to miss it. It's coming up quickly. Very soon, in fact. Power Talk, hosted by our very own Gene Adrian. Power Talk is brought to you every week by New Earth International and New Earth Broadcasting. And here she is now, Gene Adrian. And you're watching Power Talk with Gene Adrian here on New Earth International. We're live.
Good morning and welcome to Power Talk. I'm your host, Gene Adrian, and we are rapidly moving into this incredible holiday season. As you can see, I've got my poinsettias behind me just to try to help me get in the spirit. But today I'm going to give you some gifts. And before I do that, I want to invite you to go visit my website, geneadrian.com. And please sign up for my newsletter if you haven't already done so, because when you do sign up for my newsletter, I'll send you a link to the online version of the Inner Speak cards. You know, the Inner Speak cards are those cards that I use from time to time on our show to help you to clear away the blocks that are holding you back from any or all areas that you want to succeed in your life. And you can use them on your computer, perfectly free in the privacy of your own home. And you can keep yourself clear and advance your consciousness and raise your vibration. And it's all about empowering you to be the best you can be. So today's show, I'm going to be giving you 7 DNA activations. This is kind of a sneak preview from my DNA activation webinar that's called Reconnecting Soul. You can sign up for the entire webinar, the full Monty of it. It's 142 activations, and it's all in video. It's all done on Zoom, just like we're doing right now. And these are the things that are going to help you to really claim your power to be all that you can be in this world. But today you're going to get 7 of them so that you can get an idea about what this webinar is all about. The webinar is only $144, so it's a great price for helping you advance on your path to higher consciousness. So how this is going to work is what I'll do is I'm going to show you a glyph that holds the energy of a latent strand of DNA. And then I'm going to tell you about it. And then at the end, we're actually going to do an activation that will open up this strand of DNA and the associated aspect of consciousness that's tied to it. You know, my guides tell me that at one point in reality, in the evolution of the human species, we had 144 strands of DNA, not just 2. And, because we're loving sentient beings, we shared our DNA with another civilization, with somebody else, who knows, doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, they left with enough to save their civilization, and we were left with 2 strands of DNA. And we didn't realize when we gave our DNA away that associated with each of those 144 strands of DNA was an attribute of consciousness. So we gave away 142 of our gifts, of our abilities, of our attributes of consciousness, along with the DNA. And, we've been fine until now, but what's happened is that as the consciousness of this planet has increased rapidly, especially in the last couple of years, it's time for us to go back and claim that. There is no loss in the divine plan. So, all of that DNA exists. It exists in another dimensional reality somewhere along the time-space continuum. All you've got to do is ask and intend that you have it and that it's available to you and that it's intact within you once more. Our DNA is extremely powerful. It's one of the tools that I'm working with to heal myself from this injury and to restore my clear vision, whatever that means. I'm not attached to what that means. If it's physical vision, if it's third eye vision, who knows? But, the DNA is very, very powerful. It's working for me and it can work for you. So let's get started. The first activation we're going to do today is the activation of common sense. Now, I chose these activations because these are really pertinent, I think, for this time, this holiday season. The holiday season is one of those times where we have this temptation to leave our common sense on the doorstep before we go into a party, maybe imbibe a little bit too much and say things that we wouldn't normally have said, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think this is a really good time to activate this one. I'm going to show you what it looks like. This glyph opens the door for everything you do going forward to be in alignment with the highest good of all that is. So let's talk about common sense. You know, it's got very little to do with intelligence, although a lot of us tend to equate common sense with intelligence. You know, some of the smartest people that I know and some of the smartest people in the world have the least amount of common sense. And you could probably pick a few people that you know that might make you understand what I'm talking about. So this attribute of consciousness is centered around making choices that are in alignment with the highest good, not only of yourself, but the highest good of everyone. And once you activate this attribute, you're going to begin to make choices from your heart center, more so than from your head center, or from no center at all, which is kind of what I was talking about, you know, having a little bit too much to drink and letting your tongue get too loose at a party. So as the shift occurs, you're going to begin to find that everything you'll do going forward will begin to flow more easily. You'll have fewer mistakes, and you'll have a lot more positive outcomes. And it's at this point that you actually become more intelligent. Or shall we say, you'll be perceived as having more or higher intelligence. And it's really all about perception, because we all have access to everything that's contained in the divine mind. We always have. There's no order of magnitude to your IQ. There never really has been. The only difference between you and anyone else that might have been perceived to have a higher IQ than you do is just how much access you've allowed yourself to have to the field of potential and all the knowledge that's contained within there. So some of our souls choose to experience challenges associated with the lack of intelligence in a particular incarnation. Some of us choose to, do it the opposite way, and it's okay. Again, it's all about choice. And these judgments and gradients are just merely things that we can experience in a body. Because when we're on the other side, we're free from all physical constraints, and there is no difference between my soul, your soul, and any other soul, and the amount of intelligence that we have. So today you can make the choice to tap into infinite resources that are available to you. And this is the true meaning of common sense. It's the access we all have to the common database of knowledge that we share. So use it. Common sense is the key to the fast track of consciousness. And as it's opened, everything increases incrementally. So let's activate common sense. So I'm going to call upon your higher self to work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the vibration of common sense. And so be it. You see how simple that was? All right. So here's the next one. It's called communication. This one is going to activate your ability to communicate at every level, between dimensions, with your higher self, and with your source. So, during the time that we've existed in this 3D reality, we've considered communication to be either oral or written. But it's always been so much more than that. I mean, think about the communication that takes place between a mother and a baby. It takes place with a single glance. And think about the communication that takes place between two lovers. They finish each other's sentences. So now that we've added time and space to the dimensional continuum, we're bolstering our ability to communicate in a quantum way. We can now talk to aspects of ourselves that exist in other dimensions. That's a nice concept. We can speak to beings that reside in other dimensions and even in other universes. That really expands our ability to communicate. So think about the quantum leap that has occurred in communication since the internet was given to us. With a few keystrokes, you can Skype up a friend halfway around the world. You can talk on Zoom. It can be seen. I mean, it's like that Dick Tracy two-way wrist radio from back in the 50s. And it's almost like you're present in my kitchen, like I'm present in your office right now. This would have been unthinkable 5 years ago, and soon we won't even need the computer to do that. We'll be able to telepath ourselves to wherever we need to go. We can find information that we need, and we can share it with everybody else. And that's really what it's all about anyway, is the sharing of information. That's what souls really want from each other, information. So as we open up easier methods to sharing information, we're going to find our lives are going to expand greatly. So let's activate the DNA strand of communication. I call upon our higher selves to work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the DNA strand of communication and activate this vibration in our divine line. Same for our body, same for our team. So be it. All right. This next one's really sweet. It's called compassion. Another aspect of oneness. This activation enables you to support others in rising from their current vibration to a higher one by virtue of your intention, your attention, and your caring. So compassion is an empathetic response. And when we're in this vibration, we support one another without falling into alignment with their vibration. And this in turn allows us to assist people into raising their own vibration. You can't fix somebody else. You can't raise another person's vibration. Vibrational shift is a very personal thing. And it happens through personal responsibility and accountability alone, contrary to popular thought. Compassion is a complex, it's a layered vibration. It has the combined frequencies of non-attachment, respect for the other's individual wisdom and mastery. With compassion, you honor another person's unique process and you don't try to change them. In order to hold compassion for another, you've got to first have compassion for yourself. So often we beat ourselves up for not being as evolved as we want to be, not realizing where we are in our journey is exactly where we're supposed to be in that moment and at that point. So this activation today is going to enable you to take an objective inventory of where you are and accept that. Then the frequency of compassion can be fully activated inside you. So there's another empathetic response that's very similar to compassion, although quite different. It's sympathy. We're all familiar with that one. When you go into sympathy, you connect very deeply with the emotions of somebody else. And what that does is it creates a drain on your energy. When we've got an innate desire to help someone else, especially when another person experiences a loss, when you go into sympathy, you give your energy or power to them and it doesn't help them. In fact, it can also slow your own healing. And boy, I've experienced this one firsthand through my injury because so many people have wanted to help me heal. And almost to the point, these people who went into sympathy with me rather than empathy have experienced some sort of a physical issue of their own. Maybe it was a frozen shoulder. Maybe it was a head injury. Who knows? Why that happens is because sympathy is a form of judgment. And it can entangle your energy with another person's and impact both of you negatively. So a healthier way to assist somebody else is to give them your attention and your compassion. And then ask that the vibration of compassion be activated within you, in your divine line, as well as within them. And then model that energy of healing and processing for them, but not try to do it. And you do this at the level of the higher self. And in this manner, there's no energetic entanglement. Additionally, this activation is going to invite you to lift all responsibility that you might be holding for the evolution, healing, safety, and growth of anyone else up and off of yourself. Clean it up and return it to them along with the appropriate energetic information at the level of their higher self so that they can grow and evolve in a way that's perfect for them. So let's activate compassion. All right. I ask that our higher selves work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the vibration of compassion in our divine line. Same for our bodies, same for our teams. Okay. All right. The next activation that we're going to do today is called completion. This activation enables you to fully realize that all was made complete at the point of origination. The work is now done, and you're free to create on a clean palette the landscape that you desire. Wow. Okay, so it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the concept that at the moment that thought began, everything was created. Everything. You know, it kind of works as one of those universal laws that as soon as you think a thought that you desire, it actually exists in the divine mind, and it's coming to you like a freight train on a track unless you push it away. So when you open up to the potential that exists within this concept, then you exist fully in the field of pure potential because you understand that everything already exists. Everything you desire already exists. Think about it. This is like Merry Christmas 24/7. Nothing has to be created because it already is. So what does that mean? Well, that's a good question. At the least, it means that lack is an illusion. And at best, it means that all we've got to do is actualize those things that we desire because they already exist. You know, the energy of the earth is one of magnetic attraction, and this is one of the experiences that we enjoy when we're here in an incarnation, in a body on the earth plane. So by using magnetic attraction, you can pull to yourself those things that you've already made. Truth, trust, and joy are part of this process. Knowing the truth that everything already exists, trusting in the process, and using the frequency of joy to bring things closer. So this process is in alignment with the way the universe already works. It's in alignment with the law of attraction. So let's activate this one now. There you go. And I ask that our higher selves work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the vibration of completion in our divine line. Same for our body. Same for our team. So be it. All right. Here's the next one. It's called connection. This attribute reconnects you to all capabilities and to all souls throughout the universes, all the universes. You know, we've always been connected to each other. We just seem to have forgotten that. Somehow we moved into this space of separation during the course of our human evolution, and we created this grand illusion that we're all alone. Not so. Like everything else, connection is energy. It's a frequency, and it's a vibration that's held for you in that glyph I just showed you, and we're just going to activate that in a minute. You're connected to everyone and to everything, and you don't have to work so hard to do all the things you think you do. Because the true beauty of this activation is that once you remember the truth, you've got access to the energy of everyone else in the universe, and that creates superpower for you. Connection means finding more of the inner self and bringing it into our lives, exchanging lower energies into a higher form. And it's easiest to make this shift by putting attention on the inner self and focusing on qualities such as love, light, and peace. And we do this by remembering the source of all and how to reach it through our inner self. At this place of consciousness, everything changes and flows. And it takes on the shape of a higher world where miracles and realities merge. By combining your energy with those who have developed other strengths, you can gain their knowledge and ability to add to your own. In order to do this, all you've got to do is to be aware of that connection you have to other people. And then use your higher self, just like I've been doing for these activations. Ask your higher self to take you to a dimension where you have access to the resources that you need to complete the task at hand. So, for example, I want to write another book. I want to write a book that's a novel to help today's kids access their spiritual gifts in a fun way. But I don't have a clue where to begin. So I'm going to ask my higher self to connect me with an aspect of me in another dimension where I'm a successful published author of children's fantasy books. And I'm just going to allow that aspect to give me the storyline. And then I'm going to open up a document on my computer and I'm going to begin to write. And you'll be amazed at what I'm going to produce because it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a new bestseller. And this gift works in other ways as well. You know, you've got lots of talents that you want to share with the world. This lifetime's all about being of service. So take some time to offer your knowledge and your service to others along the way. It's going to be a win-win every time you do that. So let's activate connection. I will ask our higher selves, work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the vibration of connection in our divine line. Same for our body, same for our team. All right, here's the next one. It's called consciousness. Each of us is a part of the consciousness of all that is. This activation reconnects you at every level. You know, we're all just unique aspects of the divine mind. And as such, you know, we've been talking about this for the course of the show, we've got access to all the knowledge. So just like connection, there really isn't any limit to what we know. In fact, everything that's ever been experienced or learned is part of this repository of consciousness knowledge. So, how come some of us appear to be smarter than others? Well, this relates to our level of connection into consciousness. It's also tied to that DNA strand of common sense that we just activated. Yeah, throughout the ages, there have been these things known as mystery schools. And they were dedicated to achieving this connection for their initiates. But they had this concern, and so they were very secret. They had this concern that if the masses had access to this information, it would lead to danger and abuse. But in today's vibration, the time for secrets is well past. The tools for accessing consciousness are readily available to anyone who looks for them. And what we're doing today is just an example of one of those tools. By working with these glyphs and activating all of your DNA and the associated attributes of consciousness, you're tapping into the oldest and deepest knowledge so that you can make it your own. So let's activate consciousness. I ask that our higher selves work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the vibration of consciousness in our divine line. Same for our body, same for our team. And our final activation today is called creation. You are the creator, and this activation opens you to that reality. Being the creator implies a lot of responsibility. In fact, it's a scary thought that most of us, because of that, tend to deny our own truth. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I've done it for way too long. It's far easier to blame somebody else when things don't look like we expected them or they don't work out the way we wanted them to. But the truth is, we do create our reality. So this attribute of consciousness takes us back to the truth that we're unique aspects of one creator source. So that means we aren't the only creators out there. There are lots of us working our own individual magic in the field of pure potential. And there are a couple of rules that govern creation. And it's easier to play the game when you know the rules. So here's the first one. You can't create in the reality of anybody else. You are responsible only for creating your own reality. So another way of looking at that rule is, quote unquote, mind your own business. Allow everybody else to be responsible for taking care of themselves. Anytime you're not, you're judging them, and boy, we've already talked about the entanglement that occurs from that, and it makes a mess. Second rule is you're accountable for the things you create. Just like great creator tends to the flowers and the animals and the sea creatures, you've got to tend to your own little garden. And you do this by being conscious when you create, by using your attention and your intention wisely. And the third rule is it's always smart to be open to suggestion from a higher source when you're creating. So every time I place my intentions out into the universe, I then add to whatever it is that I'm giving thanks for, because that's how I do my intentions. I give thanks that I've already received it. So I add to that, this or something better is mine now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by doing this, I open the door to Creator God to give me even more than I might have been able to conceive or even ask for. And finally, we already talked about this one. Everything possible has already been created in the field of pure potential. It's up to each one of us to access these creations. And since they already exist, this job is a lot more simple than we previously thought. So let's activate creation. I call upon our higher self to work with the energetic fields and the guides to activate the vibration of creation in our divine line. Same for our body. Same for our team. And now I ask that all of our reference points are updated, all ways in which we perceive and are perceived in the world. And I ask that we're wrapped in sheets of rainbow light, just gently sealing in all this work that we have done to whatever degree is appropriate for our spiritual evolutionary state. So, you're now 7 DNA strands better off than you were 30 minutes ago. How does it feel? And if you want to go and get the rest of these gifts, then go to my website, jeanadrian.com /classes. And you can sign up for this class and receive access to the movies that contain all of these activations. Get them for yourself. So, this has been a lot of fun for me. And next week, my guest is going to talk to us about time, about how we think that time is an issue for us. But it's really, again, it's about choices and how we work with our choices. So until next week, remember, people who take responsibility for their lives create the reality they desire. Many blessings. Happy holidays. Catch you next week. Ciao.
You've been watching Power Talk with Jean Adrian here on New Earth International.